What's up guys, it's James from Superhero Forum here, and today we are doing the top 10 Spider-Man video games 2017. Now the new Spider-Man game is coming out soon, so I thought I'd make a top 10 list before the Spider-Man game comes out, and I'll also make one after the Spider-Man game comes out, which will be soon. So let's get straight into the top 10. So at 10 we have The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, The Amazing Spider-Man 1 is not going to be on this list, but I thought The Amazing Spider-Man 1 was very similar to The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was a little bit better. It was a little bit more better mechanically, and it was a better game than Amazing Spider-Man 1, but only by a little bit. Okay, in 9th place we have Spider-Man 1. Now, Spider-Man 1 was a solid Spider-Man game. It wasn't the strongest, but it was one of the earlier Spider-Man games, so you can't really blame them for not being the best story-wise and the graphic. But it was a very solid game. It set up many of the other Spider-Man games. In 8th place we have Spider-Man 3. Now I might get a little bit of hate for putting Spider-Man 3 on this list, but my opinion was Spider-Man 3 was a very entertaining game. It kept me entertained basically, which a game is supposed to do. I thought it was a lot better than Spider-Man 1. Obviously it wasn't the best and a lot of people disliked it, but I thought Spider-Man 3, almost said 1 then, Spider-Man 3 is one of the better Spider-Man games. Obviously not one of the best, but I think people dislike it a bit too much. I don't think it's as bad as everyone says, so I'm going to put Spider-Man 3 at a solid 8th place. At 7th we have Spider-Man 2000. Now the game that really set the rest of them. It was the first proper big Spider-Man game. Without that game we might not have any of the Spider-Man games we have today. It was a really fun game to play, and there were Spider-Man games before that. This one was the proper big game. The story was great and it was just really fun to play. In 6th place we have Spider-Man Friend or Foe. This wasn't the longest of games. I think people disliked this one because it wasn't massively long, but if you have a little brother or a friend you can play this with, this is unbelievably fun. It has so many Spider-Man villains you can play as, which a lot of Spider-Man games, I don't think almost any of them don't really allow you to play as the villains, apart from Spider-Man 1 with Green Goblin and Ultimate Spider-Man with Venom. And people dislike this one as well, but I think this one is actually a really fun game to play. It's not the longest, like I've said. In 5th place, now we're getting to the top 5 now. In 5th place we have Spider-Man Edge of Time. Now this is one of the most recent Spider-Man games. I think the story was the best part about it. With Anti-Venom, we've never seen anything like it. I think it was really fun. It seemed to be very similar to Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. I think it took a lot from that game. But Spider-Man Edge of Time is a really fun game. A lot of iconic villains are in it, and new villains as well, like Anti-Venom. He's never been in a video game before. Speaking of Shattered Dimensions, at number 4 we have Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. Now this is probably one of the best Spider-Man games that are to this date. It's just too good to miss. If you're a Spider-Man fan, then this is one of the, you just have to play this because it is amazing. You get to play as multiple Spider-Mans, which is unheard of in a Spider-Man game. You usually just play as Spider-Man, but you can play as 4, and you play against a lot of iconic villains as well, many iconic villains. I think Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions is a great story as well as graphics, and it is just a game that you have to play if you're a Spider-Man fan. It is just awesome. Okay, we're getting to the big 3 now. At 3rd we have Ultimate Spider-Man. And the reason I'll put Ultimate Spider-Man at 3rd is because it's a different style to it. Obviously Ultimate Spider-Man is a different style to the Spider-Man universe, and the way they set it all about with the comics, and it was a different turn. It was a quite risky turn, but the story wasn't massively long, but I think it worked and it was really enjoyable to play, as well as I love the character Venom. Venom is my favourite character in the Marvel and the from superheroes altogether. Venom's my favourite character out of superheroes, and the fact that you could play as him is just really, really awesome. And you got to see his side of the story. I just thought the whole game was just amazing. I felt like it could have been a bit longer, but you can't really complain. Okay, now this is where I might get judged. At number 2, Spider-Man 2. The reason I put Spider-Man 2 is because I don't think it's as good as the next one, but we're going to talk about Spider-Man 2 anyway. Now this game is obviously, it could be best. A lot of people put Spider-Man 2 as the best, but I don't think it is the best. But it's still, nonetheless, it's still a great game. I think the fighting mechanics are the best out of any Spider-Man game. That's what everyone loved about it. Also the swinging, it felt like a Spider-Man. It felt a game. It felt like you was playing as Spider-Man, and that's what everyone loved about it. It was just a great game. The story was great, and it was a good game for the movie because the movie was great, and the game's great, and it's just all great. Everything's great, and yeah, Spider-Man 2 is second. But number 1, you probably guessed it by now because I haven't put it in the top 10. But number 1, my favourite Spider-Man game is Spider-Man Web of Shadows. This game is just amazing. Since it's come out, I've completed it over 10 times, and that's not even a lie. I just love this story. I think everything about it is great. And there are things that can be improved, but I'm not going to talk about that at this time. But this game is just amazing. I think one thing that could have been done better in this game was for you to allow to play on after the game, because after you complete it, you just can't play it ever again. No, you can play it obviously, but you can't play a story or game you saved. It just rolls credits and it ends there, and you gain upgrades as well, which I love about certain games have upgrades, and I love that. And the upgrades in this made it really addictive. But if you were allowed to play on and collect the upgrades that you could get, and do all the other stuff, collect the other stuff, I think it would have been almost a 10, but I feel like I'm giving Spider-Man Web of Shadows a 9. Still my favourite Spider-Man game. I feel the story, Venom, everything about it, all the characters, the way it's done. I think Spider-Man Web of Shadows is the best Spider-Man game to this date. Obviously we have a Spider-Man game coming up this year that I've already mentioned, and you never know, maybe that could be the best Spider-Man game we have so far. Or then again, it could be terrible, but I doubt it'll be terrible because it's a Spider-Man game. No Spider-Man game is terrible, let's be honest. Okay guys, so thanks for watching this video. This is my first video on my channel. I think I would try to upload daily because I love everything superhero related. So I'll be giving you news on the latest films and video games, and replaying them and doing reactions and all that stuff. So if you're a fan of all that stuff, then make sure to subscribe. If you're watching this video and enjoyed it, make sure to like this video and help me get started on this channel. And yeah, thanks for watching this video. I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Peace.